time out for this. Can you
Right.
introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your business and your background?
Completely. So my name is Ricky, and my background is basically I'm a sort of a pipeline and tools programmer slash gameplay programmer. I am currently based in Canada, but I moved here about 3 years ago, basically just to sort of pursue working in the games industry. Uh, and like the beginning was kind of rough. My family was kind of against all that. They didn't really
Mm.
understand video games and all that, sort of what the industry is and all that. So I worked initially when I arrived here. I worked in uh, like a animation studio because these days my main software that I use is Unreal Engine. That's where my expertise is. And it's being used in not just in the video games industry, but like a lot of like housing, fashion, automotive, and a bunch of different industries. Like especially since Unreal 5 came out.
Hmm.
Um, and about this business, so in 2023, I was hit with like a couple of layoffs back to back, and
Wow.
I was sort of just like fresh out of college at that point. So I didn't really have any money saved up or anything like that, because I was only working like part-time before that. So, and then I had to pay for my college and everything like myself. So, um, I and then I got hit with this layoff when I wasn't prepared, and I was like, how am I gonna like survive, like pay my bills and all that? So I had a couple of like projects in my Google Drive just collecting dust.
Mm.
Um, And I thought, I mean, I was obviously aware of Unreal Marketplace, which is now FAB. So I thought maybe let's try my hand at that. And I was working on this free flow combat project, just a hobby project at the time. And I just sort of polished it up, put it, uh, let's see what happens, on the marketplace. And it actually went pretty well because I knew it would do somewhat well because there's like no one else was doing it. This sort of
Mm.
uh, no one else has like a free flow style combat asset
Yeah.
anywhere on the market. So it did pretty well. It supported me for a couple of months until I was able to get a job, and this is how basically this project started. I only have this one asset on marketplace,
Mm.
and after that, I sort of kind of just put it on a back burner and kind of forgot about it. But even when I wasn't really doing anything, it was still like a good like passive income. Not it wasn't making too much, like $200, 250, 300 a month,
Yeah.
which is I mean not bad for
Mm.
doing nothing.
Yeah.
The uh, and then and then once I got somewhat like stable here in Canada, I started working on it a bit more. I put more effort in development, time, money, the things I couldn't do myself. I just hired freelancers, and yeah, I wanted to grow it. And then you came along basically, and you just hit me
Mm.
up one day, and it was actually only last month.
Yeah.
And since then, my I mean my sales and my earnings have gone up like more than 10 times. Like I couldn't believe that. So thank you for that. It's been very helpful.
Wow, man. Your story is so inspiring to hear, man. I didn't know it was that deep. I literally did not know. Like, it was literally like survival.
Yeah, it was actually. I mean, there's more stuff, but I don't want to really
Of
get into.
course, man.
Yeah,
Nah, thank you for that though. Like that, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who may be going through the same thing, and at least they know it's possible.
definitely. Yeah. hmm
So, what challenges or problems were you facing before working with me?
Uh, with my project.
Yeah, and
Uh,
your marketplace business.
yeah. So again, I had a couple of things on my side. One that it's basically I don't have a lot of competition even still.
Mm,
With what I think I did the initial marketplace sort of research kind of well, and it's a good product to put out there.
mm-hmm,
But so many things I never even thought of, so many things that never even crossed my mind. Like, uh, for example, the whole idea of the marketplace funnel and how to sort of think like someone doing business rather than just a
mm,
developer, and how to sort of manage, support, how to structure everything. Like these things matter so much, so much.
mm,
Like I was mostly just focused on development really, and it's yeah. I mean, I could never have like grown. This would always just remain like a same like $300 a
mm,
month sort of passive income, and it just I didn't know how to grow it, like, and think of it in a business perspective, and how to sort of form and all these systems around it, and there's so much stuff to unpack that
mm.
nobody, like, it would maybe I would have learned it, but somehow, like, maybe through experience and through free content online, but it would have taken me like years, I think, to get to this point. And your program is, I think, called Marketplace Growth Accelerator, and that's exactly what it does. It just accelerated all that growth in just a matter of 1 month, maybe actually even less than 1 month, because it's only been like 2 weeks
Yeah.
working together. So the results speak for themselves.
Hmm,
Mhm.
man, that's awesome. What initially made you decide to work with me, and what stood out about my approach?
Right. So initially, you sort of re reached out to me on LinkedIn. Um, and I'm gonna be honest, I think your audience would appreciate honesty, right? Because
Of course, yeah.
um, initially, I mean, like, I was sort of doubtful, of course, but I mean, I'm not very risk averse, I would say.
Mm,
Like, even coming to here to pursue this was a kind of a
in
risk, right?
development.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, I like earlier, like when I was, when I first put this system on the marketplace, as I told you, I had no money, and
Yeah.
but now I had some money saved up, and I was fully prepared to lose it if it
Mm,
meant that there's even a chance to sort of grow. Um, Maybe if I wasn't, if I was more like cautious or something, like, or more risk averse, maybe I wouldn't have taken it. I did consult some of my friends and my partner.
hmm.
They were like, "Oh, be careful! Like, this could be something like." But I'm prepared to lose money if it means I could grow. It's just a one-time thing, and it doesn't
Mm.
matter. I'll make it back. But but
Wow.
but yeah. But one thing that really sort of helped me initially, like, in the beginning, your client would be at their most doubtful, right?
Hmm.
Because they have to like pay and they don't know you and everything like that. And
Yeah.
you claim to help. You claim to be able to like 10x their earnings, which is like quite a claim, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how can you like? It's like how can this guy like do that? Like it's quite a claim. Um, so. But yeah, you had a lot of like you had social proof. You were active in other like Unreal Discord servers and
Mm,
other communities for past couple of years, and you had like solid recommendations everywhere, and testimonials from, there was this guy who worked at Amazon. You had like social proof. I checked out your assets, that you're also a seller on FAB, so your assets has been actually used to create like actual games that are on Steam and like that are out there. So you had like strong social proof, and that was the reason I just, yeah, I could like trust you, and then yeah, I'm glad I did. 'Cause it's been
wow.
great so far.
So what I'm hearing is that you took, like, first of all, you took a risk which 99% of people would not take. And the second thing I'm hearing is it was not just a blind risk, it was an educated risk because you still
Yeah,
checked me out and everything.
yeah. I think you should always try to take calculated risks. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, bro. 100%. Especially if you want to grow, that's the only way forward. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
So can you describe your experience working with me and my team?
Yeah. So far, the way it works, like we had weekly calls and we set goals and stuff, and then in the beginning, you just sort of introduced me to the idea of like a marketplace funnel and how to sort of think of it, the whole journey that my customer would go through, starting from them not knowing about uh, my asset to them becoming interested in it, like it's getting in front of them, it's like the top of the funnel, and then them buying it, becoming customers, and then there are even further levels that I never even thought of. Like, um, and yeah, you sort of helped me structure. You went through my whole process, what I was doing right now, and analyzed it, and you sort of figured out where I was lacking, what was my weaknesses, what were my strengths, which part of the funnel was I the weakest at. And it was for me, it was like the middle of funnel. I wasn't doing support properly. Like I had a Discord
Mm,
server for my customers that they can ask questions and stuff. But that was really not very well structured and organized, and I could have done so much more. So you even like uh, yourself, like hands-on, went through all of it and then structured it like how it should be, and it's actually I can just like I could see the difference starting the next day.
hmm
Uh, and I wasn't doing any verifications and everything. And I recently like got that guy that I told you about. He sort of pirated the asset, and yeah,
Mm,
there was no checks. There was no uh, documentation work. We still sort of need to work through it. But yeah. And then I don't think I can talk about like everything that we're doing in depth because you know
it's
uh,
been a lot too in just a couple
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then the end of the funnel is something that I'm sure no one is doing that on the marketplace, and that is something like your approach is how can we make more without selling more assets and like killing ourselves and having it be turned into a full-time job with like constant free support and all that. And that's very unique. Like I don't think anyone is doing that, or like that's, or
No one
even
is
like,
doing that.
yeah, yeah,
I'm the only one doing that. Or at least the only one like really showing the process on how to do it and how to view yourself as a business instead of just like
yeah, yeah,
the, worker
yeah,
for Epic.
yeah, exactly.
So, but I'm sure there's, like people probably see it as competition. I don't see it that way.
Yeah, yeah,
The better the quality is, like the better for everybody. So, yeah. But
true.
what results have you or like what outcomes have you achieved since we started working together?
Hmm. Well, and the outcomes, so I was around like $200 a month, and this month I just almost touched 2K in sales, and I'm making I like when Unreal Marketplace converted to FAB last year around October. At that time, I was making like 5 sales a month, like $100, like, and now it's like this month is like 28 sales, so almost one sale every day, and
Wow.
it's like, I mean, it's already like 10 times uh, the income, and at this point, I could like really even afford just a whole place, like a whole studio apartment in Toronto, like downtown, which is like a tough economy, like a
Wow.
tough housing market, off of just the income from my this asset, which is like very passive. I can work when I want on it. I call all the shots. Basically, I'm in. Like it feels like I think people really love to own things, and I do too. Um, like to just and I it just feels great to just own this thing, and it's completely passive, and it just frees you sort of financially. And I mean I love working on it, and that's like the dream.
Man, that's awesome.
And it's only been like 2 weeks, as I said. So I mean,
It's
wait,
just the beginning.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, man. So, was there a moment in our work together that stood out, especially like to you, or was like impactful to you?
Yeah, so I think we talked a little bit about this before. Initially, during our first call, um, I, I I didn't like I was kind of still sort of doubtful whether it was like worth the money that I paid, uh,
Hmm.
and I mean I did get value, but I was like still sort of like okay, yeah, the funnel and all that. This guy is legit, but is it worth the price? Like, am I getting like enough value? I was still sort of like thinking about that. And then we worked together on some things over the week. And then when we sort of had our second call the next week, and then we discussed the entire, I think you also like, you cannot really, you needed time to like sort of go through my process and analyze it first before you can provide value. And then the
100%.
second call was sort of like life changing. That was like when I was like hit with, oh wow, like definitely like money really well spent. And yeah, I got, and I, that just sort of completely like transformed it, and I started getting like way more. And at this point, actually, I'm starting to get like so much like what do I call it? Like people coming to me, like so many
Yeah.
customers and so much attention this asset is getting. It's now I really need to sort of work on systems, but it's starting to get a little bit overwhelming at this
Oh,
point, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, it's great. But it was during the second week that I really sort of realized when we worked on completely like transform my Discord structure and the middle of the funnel and all that, and we got over how to sort of convert customers to clients. I got an understanding of that, and I started sort of implementing it. That you really sort of push people to take action with
Mm.
all, and which is really great because the way to learn how to do business is by doing business and making mistakes. You don't learn it by reading books, and because
Yeah.
there are like, so many, as I said, people like Alex Hormozy and all these like sort of business coaches, people, and all that content is available for free online, but and millions of people watch it. But are there millions of millionaires? Like no, right? A lot of people just consume it passively. But with you, like it's like I need to take action. Like just your program is in a way that makes you actually take action. And we may make mistakes. Everything doesn't work always, but ultimately it's the way up. Yeah, it's been very good.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So, if somebody is on the fence about working with me, like, what would you say to them?
Um, so yeah, I mean, initially, like I said, I was sort of iffy, and I think that's natural because like if they don't know you, and I think the more social proof you have, the better the chances. And some of the smaller things that I think I mentioned to you earlier on when we started working together, we just iron out so that there's just no
Mm.
doubts left. And then I think, I mean, how can I help other people to sort of, because I mean, I have the proof that it works. Like, do you want me to share like my sales reports? I could do that. I could do that. I mean, and yeah, it's just you gotta like gotta prepare to like take risks
Mm,
ultimately, because I can never like nobody can 100% guarantee that it's gonna work. Like not even you can like guarantee, because ultimately I have to do the work, right? You're
yeah.
you're 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 there to sort of guide me, and also my asset is different, and it's like, but you gotta like it's a business, it's a risk. I mean, you gotta take some risk and be prepared to lose. I completely removed this from my mind when I started working with you. That sort of fee money that I paid you, I just was
Mhm.
like, okay, that's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, what business? I can't think of any business that you can do without risk. But yeah, I mean, Brian is very legit, and he's been very helpful to me. And I mean, all the you can just he's oh, one more thing that sort of helped me and sort of get more confidence early on, I guess, is your face is all over the internet, right? Your like your face is all over the internet, and everything is about you is legit. And it's hard to believe that someone can help us like 10x our in like our marketplace income in only 90 days. It's just hard to believe, but it's definitely possible. And
Mm,
I was sort of already sort of in like in the sort of business world. Like I already have an interest in like business and like practices, and I sort of passively consume content.
mhm.
Uh, but if you're someone who's just a seller but who's not like actively thinking about that, maybe you probably will benefit even more.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
yeah. So I mean, you got to take a chance. Like Brian is legit, and you gotta put in some work upfront, and be prepared to.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that. And I completely agree with you because the way I look at it is you're really the person doing all the work. I'm just there to make the time shorter.
Yeah,
Like, so if you can't do the first part, I can't make the time shorter because like what am I making the time shorter to? You
yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like that I really look at it as like the client does 80% of the work and my 20% is to save them that 80% of time. And that's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like you said, I think your business experience also kind of helped with the
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not, you don't have like any like, what you do is like compress like years and years and years of experience and knowledge into like 3 short months. And it's not like you have like some magic wand or that you can just swing, or some like secret that like no one else knows. Like, these things are all there, but you'll never, it will take you years to sort of, if you
yeah.
were to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why it's definitely worth um, paying, and then yeah, it's very helpful to just get, it's an accelerator, and that's exactly what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So how has working with me impacted your life or business beyond the numbers though?
I think it's beyond the numbers. It's just more of a like insight, and I think
Mm,
this is the sort of knowledge and experience that not just the marketplace, it could be applied anywhere really. Any sort of business you're doing, you can apply the same principles. It's all the same. It's just that I think game developers and like uh, marketplace sellers don't really think of themselves as like business people, but it is a business.
yeah.
Um, and this sort of mentality shift where you sort of stop thinking of yourself as just a developer and take more of an ownership uh, of your process. And then you later on, you also, as you start to grow, you start to see more numbers, and then you learn how to make systems, because you don't want to kill yourself like 100 people coming to you. And then you create systems and delegations, and sort of how to create this whole system that basically is out there, an entity, and that's
Mm,
doing the work for you. And you're sort of more and more becoming like an overseer, less hands-on, but like, like just sort of manage stuff. And it's just like even if it's not, let's not talk about numbers, but it's just a great, first of all, it's great to know like all this knowledge and experience can be applied to different areas of life, and
Yeah.
it's just a great feeling to sort of own something, like own
Yeah.
these systems and be like at the top. I have a job, I have a 9 to 5, and it's just um, you can't like get that sort of feeling of freedom and ownership. And then I mean numbers. I mean I love the numbers too. Like they it's more than just money. It's like, as I said, I can afford to just live off of just this marketplace income, like for my rent, even in Toronto's economy, and it's just so financially freeing because you don't you don't have any set work hours. You can work from anywhere. I work whenever I want. I don't work when I don't want. Like I have to update like some new feature, some customer requested. I'll tell them, okay, this, it's just it's it's the best. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, at least not for me.
Oh, trust me, it does, bro. We just started.
Yeah, yeah, but like
It
it'll
does.
grow. But the thing that we're aiming towards, it just it like the freedom and the ownership
Mm,
and it just, I think that's the
that
ultimate.
freedom, man. That's
Yeah,
actually a great point because that freedom is, I believe, every creative wants that. At least the creative
yeah,
freedom, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's and creative freedom too, because I am selling only the asset that I want. Like I was doing this stuff even when I was like a kid, and I was just learning Unreal
Wow.
Engine, and I wasn't making any money of it. I didn't even have a concept of money in my head at that time, but I was doing this thing that I'm doing now, even when no one was paying it, because I just love to do it, and it's just, and now I'm getting even more of it, out of it, and getting some recognition, and making some money off of it, and getting creative freedom and financial freedom and like flexibility and a feeling of ownership. And uh, what else could you want?
Yeah, I can argue
If
with
that's
that.
not enough to if that's not enough to sell you, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
That is awesome, man. I'm really happy for you, bro. That's really cool. So, what surprised you the most about working with me?
Um, I guess even just the concept of what you're doing is sort of new. Surprise, like just the concept of um, like one of the things we try and convert customers to clients, and this is just the approach to selling on marketplace. People like even I think even the most successful of marketplace sellers, um, like Everett Gunther, Ultra Dynamics guy, and Christian Komisarek, I think his name is, the Imaginary Dreams, all these sellers. I've been following them for a while. Um, but I don't think even they sort of realize that you can, you put the asset, you create a project, you put that on the marketplace, and maybe you put some effort in like the promotion and stuff. But beyond that, you can do so much more. And the most surprising thing is just this way of like thinking about it, to
Mm,
that you can, there's so much unexplored potential, and
mm.
there's no one to tell you about this. um I've never seen anyone. I've been in, like the gaming industry, like space, for like since 2017,
Wow. Almost a
and
year.
no one really thought this sort of like way of thinking uh towards this. uh there's, especially now, like these days, there's so many layoffs, studio closures, and it seems like the games industry and the VFX industry is in a bad spot right now, and so many people are just struggling. But this, if they can just realize this, I mean, uh, it's just, it's, as I think you said, gaming industry is not, it's thriving right now. but people just don't realize that they're just looking at it the wrong way. Uh, so yeah, the most surprising thing is just the new perspective about it.
That's awesome. And it's also great that you were open enough to at least explore that perspective. I
Yeah.
think that's a huge part of it. So, how did you feel when you first started working with me, and how do you feel now?
Um, when I first, like the first day when I started working with you, we just connected on LinkedIn. We talked, we on a call for a bit just to introduce ourselves and for you to tell me what it's all about. And you were trying to figure out if I'm the right client. Um, and then we did the initial payment, and then we booked calls. We sort of started strategizing. Yeah, initially the first call when we actually started working together, as I said, I was doubtful even after the call. Like the call helped, and we got some things. Um, we talked about the funnel and everything, and but I was still sort of doubtful. Like I went so in the very beginning, I was like, "Is this guy even legit? Like, is this even legit?" I was in that place, and all of my friends were like they were almost against me like going with this. They
Hmm.
were like, "Oh, this doesn't look good. Like, it's not." But I was like, You're gonna lose money," and but I was like, "So what? Like, it's okay. If I lose it, that's fine. You know, it's not not a big deal. I lose it. Sometimes you lose.
Hmm.
But if I don't lose it, and if it is legit, and if what this guy is saying is actually, even if what this guy is saying is not fully true, like you're claiming to 10x the marketplace income, even if you can even like hell, even if you can only 3x my income, because I can't even do that right now, right?
Hmm.
Even if you can show me
Hmm.
something that I don't know, I would consider even that to be worth it. It's like, I mean, what's a couple $1,000? I'll make them back, but like this thing, once I get that knowledge, and I could just apply it forever because this product is like going to be there forever, and we'll just sort of. I always strive to take actions that like end up like building something
Hmm.
uh, that are not just one-off actions that are just like I did something like I don't know. Uh, I went out with my friends and got a couple of drinks, and like I wanna see some sort of like growth,
Yeah.
and 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 if I pay even a hefty price, and then but in return because at that point I had no idea how to even double my sales. So even if I could even double or triple it instead of like 10 times, then they will stay like doubled for throughout the I will have that sort of firmware update in my brain, right?
Yeah.
That's so valuable. Like, how can you be so short-sighted as
Hmm.
you want to save a couple of, bucks, and you forgo that like growth is important and it's invaluable to me. So,
Yeah. A lot of people don't think about the opportunity cost of not taking a risk. They only think about the opportunity cost of taking that risk.
you gotta take risks. Like, there's no other way. And you gotta take risks, and you'll also have to like actually like do some work upfront.
Of course.
Like this kind of I mean, even when I didn't know you, or like in 2023 when I released the asset, I think getting started is really hard. It's the
Oh
hardest part.
yeah, it is.
Like I was, I didn't, I made this free for combat project in I think 2021, and then I never put it on. Like I never monetized it. I never
Hmm.
just sort of collecting dust
Wow.
on
For
my
two
Google
years.
Drive. And I know there are a lot of people like this. I know some of them. Like I have a friend who's been like planning to. He has this like great sort of pipeline system that he wants to put on the market. But sometimes you just sort of start going down that rabbit hole and never release it. Like, oh, I need to add this feature before I can really. Oh, I need to do this. I need to optimize it. I'm like, oh no, just put it out there. You don't know what you need to do. Like, you will know that when people buy it. Like I was I didn't think my this project was good enough. I thought,
Mm.
I mean, the marketplace has so many products, right? And I thought I put that, no one's gonna probably buy it, or if they buy it, like I'll get like 1 star in every review. But you don't realize something, that if you even if you are a relative beginner, there are so many people who are like even like less knowledgeable, who are just starting out than you, that they will definitely be interested, and like they will think your
Mm.
work is great.
Mm.
And then there's also there's a lot of things, like you can't unpack it, but like initially you put the product on there, you price it lower so that you attract the audience that is more on the beginner side, and then as your product grows on, becomes more and more premium, then when you up the price, you start attracting audience that are more experienced and more serious people working on actual projects and stuff.
Mm.
And then you can start to worry about all these features and optimizations, but don't, if you just if you just go down this rabbit hole, and you're
Mm.
never gonna end up releasing it. It's a lot of like mental resistance to starting something. It's a lot of mental resistance to even like I had some mental resistance to start working with you,
Mhm.
and then actually you told me to like increase my price, like double
Mm.
it, and that was so like I had so much like mental resistance. I would have never done it, but um, and came so close, as I told you, to like reducing it after upping it, and then I did get some like negative feedback, but yeah, there's a lot of like beginning is hard. What was your question again? I think I kind of went on a
Nah, bro, you answered the question perfectly. You answered it perfectly. It was how did you feel when you started working with me, and how do you feel now? And I think you literally encapsulated the whole thing perfectly. So
yeah.
yeah, that's great. So the next question is, what's a piece of advice or lesson you've learned through our work together?
Oh, there's like I mean there's an entire like mindset shift. I can if I start to break it down into like smaller individual components of what I learned, it probably would take a long time, but it's
Mm.
just to like it as an overview, just how to look at this business, this FAB marketplace thing in a completely different light. Like as a not just don't just not just put the asset on there and then just eh, provide support and just think of it like a developer, but you can like there's a lot of different ways that you can extract more. Like before that, I did want to like grow myself on the marketplace,
Hmm.
and the only way that I was thinking of doing that is a just working on this one project more, adding more features, and you know, and b just putting more assets. So I was actually I actually just before you reached out to me, I started working on another asset. Um, and that I was planning to put. But then you sort of came in at the right time and gave me like this perspective that there's so much more potential
Mm.
that that's like undiscovered. I can make so much more out of this one asset. I don't need to put. And you really like the way to go is have one asset on the market that's like, and just put all your focus and effort into that, to try to make that as like premium as possible, and then implement all these sort of systems around it that you're there to help with. um, don't spray your profile with like 15
Mm.
different assets that are like garbage, and that no one's
Mhm.
no one's gonna have like one even. I think the most successful and the most popular asset on the marketplace is Ultra Dynamic Sky,
Wow.
and that's exactly why. Like, I remember I think I talked to the developer once, or maybe I read his conversation with someone else. But the way to go is really have one offering that's really strong, and then after that, after you, because you won't realize until you talk to someone like Brian, um, how much more you can get out of that, and
Mm,
how much potential there is. You just won't know. Um, and once you get it to a certain level, then yeah, I guess you can throw in like two or three other assets. There's also a way to like divide your assets into tiers and all. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Like as I said, there's so much stuff. How can I go over everything like in an hour? So
yeah, man. The whole essence of our offer, and I love how you even relate it to life because this is really just about life, is being resourceful. A lot
yeah,
of people think like, oh, I need more money, or when I get more money, I can do this. But it's
mm,
like you already have the more money. You just need to
yeah.
use your
You don't
brain
know it.
power to
Yeah,
convert it
yeah,
into
yeah,
money,
yeah,
you know? And that's exactly, you don't know what you don't know. So,
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and there's so much that you don't know that you don't know,
yeah.
and you don't know what to look for. Like everything that you've been sort of teaching me, it's not like it's not out there. Uh, but the problem is, if I knew what to search, what to look for, I would
hmm
be able to find everything. But I don't know
Mm,
what to type in the Google search bar. Like I don't know what to do. Like
yeah.
Um, so that's the thing. And it'll be years before you finally realize everything, and maybe even not then, because I mean, uh, I've been in games industry since 2017, and I never really nobody really talked about these things, at least in the sort of the gaming space, I think.
Yeah. But they
So
do it. That's why they're successful companies. They all do it. They just don't talk about it
yeah,
because to them it's
yeah,
competition.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I know we're almost out of time. So I have like two more questions before we wrap it up.
sure.
What's one word you would use to describe working with me and why?
Um, Insightful, I guess.
Mhm.
Uh, and I wish my vocabulary was a bit better, but it's like I did 10x like my income as was promised, um, and it's only been 2 weeks. And this is something that I used to talk to like some people that are close to me about this because I'm actually kind of very passionate about this, and this
Mm-hmm.
project is like my baby.
Mm.
And I was telling them, hey, I really wanna. Like my dream is this project like starts making like 4K a month,
Wow.
and they're at 2K, 4K a month, and they were like, oh, like I mean, it's gonna take I don't know how many years. Like this is, I mean, you're dreaming, you know, and
Mm.
and now it's there, and yeah, it's very insightful. It's like it changes your sort of perspective. Is there a word for that? Perspective
I
changing, I
think
guess. Like
insightful, or maybe paradigm shifting, but that's two
yeah,
words.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think insightful is a great way to
Hmm.
describe it, and the way you expanded on that, like, yeah,
Yeah. It's exactly
it
as you said,
works.
like you put it perfectly. You don't know what you don't know, and those are the things that sort of you bring into perspective. So it's not like
Exactly.
those things are not out there. You can learn them yourself without needing Brian's help, but you probably never will. Like you likely never will. Yeah, and if you do, it'll take a lot more, like a long time.
The cost is not worth the time,
Yeah,
and I think like people
time
who
is
value time more than money tend to see that.
time is money. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why would you recommend working with me? And if so, why?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Anyone who wants to grow, anyone who's a seller, I think you only, I don't know if you only cater to like marketplace sellers or people outside, I don't know, but if you're like me, and you've been, even if you're not a marketplace seller yet, even if you haven't been able to sort of come like overcome that, I think for me, the only reason I put this on the marketplace in the first place is because I lost my job and I had to pay my rent, and
Hmm.
that really tends to
Hmm.
motivate you. So I was trying to find a way to. I didn't wanna like go work in McDonald's. I mean, I would if
Yeah, if
if it
if push came
really,
to shove.
yeah, but I thought, I mean, I was also kind of prideful, I guess. Like I had sort of this like ego thing that I'm
Hmm.
better than this, and why I can't be like, you know. So I have all these skills. I mean, what are they good for if I can't even pay
Hmm.
my rent? So I really need to sort of find a way. So I just thought, okay, let's try this FAB thing. Oh, it was not FAB back then. It was,
Yeah.
and then it worked. And but if you're someone who is not even on marketplace, but you are like an artist or developer in the gaming space, I'm sure you would have like a bunch of projects that you worked on. They may be incomplete, they may be unpolished, but everyone has them like lying in their Google Drive
Yeah.
somewhere, and you probably don't think that they're worth anything. You probably think that, oh, who's gonna care about this? You know, like sort of, but really just try and what's the worst that could happen? And then once you do that, you'll see, because there are people who are lower than you, and they will find it useful. And then once you get started, the way to grow it is you like talk to someone like Brian. So I would recommend that because you really like just try it once, and like you would really see things that you never really thought of before. And
Hmm.
there's so much potential that you just don't know that is there. And yeah, it's actually kind of like it's life changing. It's magical, you know. Like I mean, I have like like I have grown it 10 times, like my sales in 2 weeks. I mean, is that not life changing? So I would highly recommend. I know you would like face some resistance. Like starting anything is really hard, and it's the hardest part. But just gotta be prepared to like give it a chance. And Brian is legit, and you gotta. I mean, ultimately, like nobody can like spoon feed you. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta start. Just just do it. Just click the button. You know, and then Brian will like really ease things because I do feel a lot of mental sort of relief that okay, like there's this person who's taking care of things sort of. So and I can just ask if I get like
Hmm.
what's the best way to do this, and what's like, and like it's you really need a mentor. Like they're very
Hmm.
important to have if if you're someone who cares about growth. So yeah, yeah, just and then just take their playbook. Sometimes I just copy literally. I have copied like exact lines from Brian's like acid phase. Yeah, and you so he becomes like a mentor, and you just sort of copy his playbook so that he learned those things spending like years. You don't have to. You you can just get a head start, and that's invaluable.
Yeah. Very, very well said, man. Ricky, thank you so much for this interview. It means a lot. I'm super excited for the results that you've gotten so far, and I'm even more excited for what's to come. So
Me too.
it's been a
Likewise.
pleasure working with you, and yeah, cheers to a very long relationship, man.
Exactly. Yeah, my thoughts the same. Thank you, and thank you for everything.
Of course. All right, take care.
Yeah.
See you on our
Bye.
next call. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.